Hey, what's up, guys? Train Volk here. It's late at night as per usual, and wanted to post a commentated ranked video. I'm gonna play like 5 or 6 sets Combat League and just talk about what I'm doing and explain my logic behind like the way I play Smoke a little bit, because there's some people that are asking, because there are people who are kind of lost as to what to do with the character, and I think it's mainly wrapped up in the fact that they're too lost in the weeds as far as the hyper focus on the go invisible and mix style play. So while this is part of his game plan, the problem is it's not what he's actually meant to do. This is a character I understand very well. It's what I did in Injustice 2, and it's what I did in MK11 as well. And I tried to do it with Kenshi and MKX, even though that could be difficult. So the idea behind Smoke is that he is a character where you want to be reactive and defensive, but as soon as you get an opportunity with your defense, then you pounce, basically. Honestly, it's kind of funny. You could argue that Smoke's dialogue in this game kind of gives away the way he's meant to play, right? He's always personifying himself as a hunter. Well, hunters don't usually make the first move, right? It's all about trying to corral their prey into the position they want for an optimal advantage, and that is what you do here. So, I'm gonna fight this Kenshi player. I'll try to demonstrate. And we're actually a character that can fight Kenshi pretty well. Yeah, that's fun. Good full combo here. So now he's in the corner, right? We want to keep him here. But if we can help it, we want him to be the one that pulls the trigger, right? So as soon as we get our next hit, we're gonna go invisible and kill him. Oh, now I can't. I just got regular EX bomb there for some reason, which is really annoying. I guess since we're here, I can talk about Kenshi a little bit, because I'm probably dead here, but and I kind of want to talk about this in a video coming up, because I want to talk about the New Era podcast, because I kind of think that it has become a rather very misguided effort at this point. And I'm starting to think that especially Tom Brady has become kind of lost in the sauce. So what do I mean? I just don't think Tom has the right view of the game, man. I think he literally does not understand this game. Are there metas that are extremely boring? Yes. Okay, so now watch. He has to come to me, right? We have forward 1-2, one of the best whip punishes in this game. We have down 3 for keep out. We have back 4 for keep out. That's all it is get the life lead and let them hang themselves, and then once they hang themselves, you go invisible and start mixing if possible, or depending on the character, you just back off and rinse and repeat again, right? Anyway, I listened to the newest episode of the New Era podcast, which was over this weekend. And even though I never thought he did before, and don't get it twisted, by the way, Tom is a friend, and I like Tom quite a bit. He's also helped me out with the way I've been struggling in the last year, and it's just, at the end of the day, we're just like two very opinionated fighting game players. You know, everyone knows how I am. I say what I think all the time. And it's an interesting perspective for me because I hate saying it, but I do appear to be in the minority of liking this game. And I like it so much more than it seems like quite a bit many people do, that it kind of amazes me. So what am I talking about? So I have a completely different perception. Okay, maybe I am absolutely insane. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have a completely different perception about like how this game is played, about how deep it is. Like right now, to me, this is currently the deepest MK game. So what do I mean by that? Because I know there's going to be people who everyone wants to say MKX, right? Well, to me, depth is not combo variety. Like, that could be part of it, but not really, okay? Combos are more like a creative player expression thing, which is alright. Like, yeah. But I don't personally value that. Combos are what they are, right? And they can be fun because they can be an expression of skill when you do them under pressure, or it can be an expression of your personality, right? You might do simple, easy combos and concentrate on the fundamentals of the match, or you might be someone who optimizes every like 0.% out of every hit you do and things like that. Now, what's weird is I think this game has that kind of expression in spades. Now, this guy's so desperate. He doesn't like the way I'm playing this. That's fine. If I really wanted to, I could spend my tremor ambush to actually get out of that, but I don't want to do that if I can help it. Nope. Okay. Anyway, gotta stop doing that, bro. Look at that. Anyway, I think this game has plenty of room for player expression. I just think, like all other fighting games in the modern age, because the competitive aspect of them has become more popular and more mainstream, it just stands to reason that more people are going to play whatever the meta of said game is, right? Everyone's making the complaint about like everything is like Raiden, Peacemaker, Kenshi, Johnny, whatever, but like Tekken is also just all like Azucena, Dragunov, Victor, and like whatever else, right? Just like Street Fighter 6 is Luke, DJ, Cammy, Chun, Juri, that's just how a game that's multiplayer and competitive in nature works, man. And it's not that bad. As a matter of fact, out of all the fighting games that are out right now, if you actually pay attention to the results of tournaments, like who places in top 32, top 8, this game is the most balanced out of all the big three if you look at tournament results. Yes, there's a lot of cameos that are in common, even with those characters. But that's just how metas work in gaming in general. Like, it doesn't mean anything that everyone uses Chameleon or that everyone uses Striker or whatever. And I also very much disagree that the play styles that those things are facilitating are boring. Like, Striker to me is actually really cool and very deep because it's like, maybe it's because I'm a musician, but I appreciate the way in which Striker rewards you for playing with your timing on things. That's like the big thing that cameo offers. Plus the fact that he has like a way to remain plus if you really want to do that, right? And then he also allows certain characters to get like certain kinds of subs going, and he allows for, you know, many different things. And plus, like, are there a few things in synergy with Striker are ridiculous? Yes, of course there are. But like, if I'm playing Smoke Striker, for example, I don't get my success by doing the same thing everyone else does, where they do like, they mostly like to do like punchable, like get in options, and they follow with Striker. I use Striker because with Smoke, you can use Striker to completely cover going invisible on knockdowns, right? It basically is the only cameo in the game that guarantees Smoke the ability to go invisible and then get pressure afterward. Whereas, like, you can go invisible after a knockdown for sure, but you always are going to have to mind the opponent's options, and the fact that against Smoke, when you go invisible, a lot of people, they just love to flail. And that's fine, by the way. Like, that's what they should be doing, right? But that's like a play style of Smoke that is completely different from like how I play Smoke with Trevor, or how I play Smoke with Serena, or how I play Smoke with Scorpion. Like, I think the other problem is that there's just too much. There's also, like, I hate to say it, but our community just doesn't know how to experiment. Yes, I agree that some of the lesser used cameos are kind of stale, or kind of boring. But they're boring in isolation. They're not boring, like, when you mix them with the characters. Wow, he fell for that. So, you know, so just going back to my original point, you see how I'm playing here? Like, sometimes you go in, but we're mostly just letting this guy hang himself. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I want to talk about, on that note, I want to talk about this summary of the game that especially Tom has, that the game is nothing but poke, throw, and backdash. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, is he high? And by the way, this is not like me shit-talking a friend or anything. Like, Tom's busy, but, like, I would say this to his face. And I've already said to M2 Dave, who's another good friend of mine, who I'm sure has relayed those opinions to Tom. But, like, I don't even know where to start. First, the fact that Tom Brady is the anti-up blocker. I gotta tell you right now, in MK1 to me, that's the equivalent of being an anti-vaxxer. That's the fighting game version of being an anti-vaxxer right now. To be anti-up block is crazy. Especially in a series where we've been asking for consistent anti-air options. And it's not even like, I can't even believe people think that it's like an over-tuned mechanic or it's unfair. All it does is add layers to the jump-ins, and it also makes it so that whenever you do a jump-in, you have to be sure, you have to make a good read. So I really like up block for that reason. I like the fact that this game is very grounded. I know some people might find that boring, but I can only imagine these are like MKX players. They have to be, bro. They have to be. And then, you know, it's the way he defines the game, right? So, and this is a video I want to make another day. And I have to mention this because Tom is one, right? We got to talk about Sub-Zero players someday. The only one that I know of that's like outspoken about the character that does not play this like perpetual victim card is Mr. AP Chem, who, if you didn't see, he actually reacted to one of my videos, my last video about gameplay changes to the game. And it was really cool. I mean, I asked him to do it. I told him I was a fan of his channel. I think he's one of the best MK channels right now, personally. And I would appreciate it if he would, you know, hear what I had to say about the game and give his thoughts about it. And he was cool, and he reacted to it. And, you know, he had pretty fair disagreements with some of the things he said. But I think the thing that him and I would both agree on, though, is that this game is not literally down one backdash and throw. Like for you to have that opinion. So like the problem is, for me to address that point, I have to be like, it's not that I'm trying to be, but I have to be what someone would consider to be insulting about it. And that is because if you really think this game is nothing but down one backdash throw or whatever, and you don't see that there's all these complex decision trees going on back to back in this game, I don't know how you'll ever be convinced otherwise, but I also don't know how you play a fighting game at all if you don't see that. Like, either your brain's slowed down now, and, you know, that's fine. We all age out of this kind of shit eventually. Come on, bro. the Lee May Classic, of course. But that's all I can think of is, in my opinion, to have that perspective on the game, you have to be, like, not even capable of keeping up with it. Most of the time in this game, and I've talked to, like, the people who also, you know, at least like the game, like Tweety, for example, you know, Tweety is also kind of a stand for this game, and he likes it a lot. You have to, first of all, you have to know your situations, which is another thing that we're going to talk about, is Tom saying that this game is something different than being a game that's about knowing situations is, it's an interesting opinion. Like, I don't know if he is thinking about what the definition of a situation is. Like, this game is nothing but situations. It's very Virtua Fighter-like in that respect, in that it's nothing but situations, and it's very fast back-to-back situations that you have to know, right? You have to lab these things. You know, you have to lab a lot of the Abare in certain situations. You have to... there are a lot of niche punishes with certain character and cameo combinations that you have to know if you want to make some matchups much easier for yourself. Like, I just don't get this opinion, and it's like, that is why, to me, I have to say, it does feel like a little bit clickbait to me, or like it's rage baiting, because of that. Like, I cannot believe that earnestly Tom actually thinks this game doesn't have situations. Like, what do you think a knockdown is? Right? Characters have, like, different optimal play styles when they're... Like, look at that, right? I had an opportunity, so I did down 4, and I used the pushback off the down 4, because you could use that to bait whiff punishes, and if he wanted to beat me there, all he would have had to do is chase me, right? But he tried to counter poke, and that is a situation that I can use to bait a bad counter poke, right? Like, come on, dog. like I could go behind the rationale for like every decision I make if I wanted to. I wouldn't be able to commentate at the pace of making the decisions, but it's just absolutely crazy to me. Now, this isn't to say that I don't think the game has problems that need to be addressed. It definitely does. But the game is not dead. The game is not like a conceptual failure. That was a good response. Let's see if I can, like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's almost like Tom right now is kind of lost in the same morass of like frustration and anger that I was at with MK11. That MK11 was a much worse game than this, and it was very frustrating to play competitively. Like, I still stand by my opinion that I think it was an awful game. It was both an awful fighting game in general, and it was a bad MK game. So the thing about this game, and maybe this is also why Tweety likes it, right? So let's put out there for the record that both Tweety and I's favorite NRS game to this day is still Injustice 2. Still Injustice 2. Because it was a game that had it had a complex neutral game. It had a complex version of the my turn, your turn style of gameplay NRS games are known for. And that's another thing. How in the world can Tom say this game is like uniquely your turn, my turn? NRS games have always been that. That's literally fighting games in general. Now, if you're talking about like the power to prevent being thrown into that my turn, your turn situation, well, part of fighting games is keep yourself out of that, regardless of what him or M2 Dave think. It is absolutely possible to play an entire set and keep yourself out of having to play that kind of game, right? Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I would really like to know what you guys think. And I would like to actually hear, like, I want to hear some actually ration out explanations as to why there are people who think this way about the game. And on top of everything else, I don't know. I feel like this game rewards smart gameplay. It rewards knowledge. Like, you're rewarded for having labbed certain situations. You're, except for Raiden, which is a problem character for sure, you are definitely having to take a lot of risks to keep your offense going, or if you want to stay safe and compact, then you have to take risks that might get you killed, which is a thing, like a balancing dynamic that NRS has previously had trouble with, right? They've had trouble with how they handle their risk-reward distribution in their games. That's without question. But, like, I think in this game it's great. It's the best it's ever been, an NRS game. At least an MK game. I'll say that. Of course, there's Injustice 2, which I think is... It used to be my favorite game of theirs, and I think their best game. And I played... I guess I should briefly talk about my experience with MK. I played the 3D MKs, all of them, and then I played 9X, 11, and now this. So... He's mad. And maybe it's because I'm like a little younger, and maybe I have a different perspective, because I have an unusual perspective. I was not able to actually compete and like travel until I was like 29. So that's a factor too, is like I'm newer to competing, although I knew about fighting game competition. I will watch old, crusty 240p videos off of Tekken Zaibatsu. Tekken was the series that got me into fighting games. But yeah, like I feel like I have enough perspective here to say that I just don't know what the fuck Tom's talking about. I don't get it. And there are so many points of his, like, I want to make a video actually talking about Tom and the things he's specifically said about this game. Because, like, I don't know a nice way to say it. I just think some of the things that he says are straight delusional. Now, as far as whether the game is performing well, like whether or not it has like the most players it could have or whatever, like there is this really bad tendency nowadays to conflate with your game has to be like the top one game player base wise to be like legitimate. And I don't agree with that, bro. Listen, I'm a fucking weeb. I play Neon Falcom games, which are like, those are about as obscure as it gets in a lot of ways. They're super obscure, and barely anyone even knows about them. But I love them. I think they're like some of the best JRPGs in like the genre of JRPGs usually. So, personally, I think if you're the type of person where like one of your deciding factors for a game is like how popular it is, and let's not get it twisted, right? That's all it's about when Tom talks about like the game is dying. The game's clearly not dead. You can get on it all hours of the day and find consistent back-to-back matches in this game. And you could do that before the crossplay was implemented, right? When you were just playing with only your platform. But now it's even better because you have crossplay, right? And we're going to get the King of the Hill crossplay tomorrow with Ermac. That's why I'm recording this, by the way, depending on when this gets uploaded. Yeah, I am just starting to feel like that there are some people who, like, their hate of this game is delusional. And I'm going to say this now, and I'll probably make a video talking about it. If you think this game is bad, and yet you like current Tekken 7, and your arguments for why the game is bad are the same things that guys like Tom are saying, it is purely a bias thing. Like, you're an MK guy, you're mad that, like, you're not as sick as you used to be. I'm gonna lose to this guy. He's pretty good, this guy. Sometimes just get raided, just get set played to death. Yep. Like, I don't know how else to interpret the hatred for this game other than that, right? He thinks that this game is like MK11.5 and things like that, and that's just obviously not true. If it were MK11.5, you would have seen so many of those people who are placing high in MK11 stick around and do well in this game, and some of them just could not hack it, right? Jukes is gone. Mufasa's gone, more or less. Like, there's a bunch of people that just don't exist as far as entering tournaments and placing anymore. And they can say that the game is boring, yada yada yada, all they want, but listen, man. MK11, I think people misunderstood like a lot of the criticism around it. It's that nobody was saying that you couldn't be a scrub, right? Like, no one was saying a top player was ever going to get beaten by a scrub, but what everyone said about that game, whether it was Sonic, whether it was Dragon, whether it was like a bunch of other respected figures in our community, was that it was so much harder to beat people who had like a minuscule amount of experience compared to you, because the game just didn't offer that much in terms of like Yomi and mind games, right? That was the big problem with MK11, is it was like layer 1 only, the game, and then Flawless Block further exacerbated that problem, because what was intended to be a defensive mechanic, and I liked the idea of it when it was first introduced, right? What was meant to be a defensive mechanic, which we thought was going to help, you know, help us deal with the typical NRS nonsense, turned out to be one of the best turn-stealing offensive pressure facilitating mechanics in the entire game. And then, so when you have a game where all you can do is like poke in the backdash or you stagger in a Flawless Block, which is all that game was. That's all that game was. There's just nothing of substance there, and it's much harder to beat people. And yes, it's not because the other guy was better than you, because if the decision-making space is shallow, right? If the decision-making space is shallow, it will be harder to beat somebody, even if they've like barely played fighting games compared to you. Because at a certain point, it just becomes RPS, right? That was really the big problem with MK11 was RPS the game. This game is not RPS the game. Like there are a lot of situations in this game that go like 4 ways or 5 ways, and like flowcharting in this game gets really punished hard. You cannot flowchart in this game. At the highest level anyway. Or even at a high level. Like sure, you can destroy people. And that's another thing I don't get. If Tom is thinking that you can't destroy people, especially in this game, who are less experienced than you and more autopilot than you, that's like a crazy statement, bro. If you know what you're doing, it is extremely hard for someone worse than you to beat you in this game. It just is. Like, I've never, except, you know, maybe when it comes to Raiden, but I've never felt cheated in this game. I never have. That pissed me off. Why he backdashed out of that? Anyway. I think we gotta play 1 or 2 more, and then we'll end this little commentative ranked / vlog video. So, yeah, I just feel like there's almost a level of hysteria over this game that is just crazy to me. I guess there are just so many people who are living in the past. They have definitely rose-tinted glasses. MK9, while it was big for the NRS scene, while it was influential because of its story mode, single-player content, and all that stuff, MK9 is not a good fighting game, bro. There's no way you're going to argue with me that Cabal doing nothing but instant air gas blast and almost endless nomad dash pressure loops is any more entertaining than what this game does. At least in this game, you have more options out of things than that, right? Now, I kind of understand Tom's point about how he doesn't like how comparatively low the power level is in this game, because I do agree with that. The MK has always been kind of known for that they have high power levels, but like the problem is, you know, that was a symptom of the fact that NRS were notorious for being people that didn't understand fighting games as well as other studios. Like, that wasn't an actual design intention, at least that we know of. So, yeah, like MK9 is fun, but let's not fool ourselves. It's not a good game. It's at least it's not a good fighting game, right? As far as like a game that you can treat like a hobby that you can get better at, and like there's a gratifying curve in like how it feels to get better and better. I don't think that exists in MK9 with like a modern perspective. I know for some people they cherish that game because of memories they have of it, and you know, more power to you. That's like, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong to have fond memories of the game, but I kind of feel like it's a game that's vastly overvalued now, and the people who they keep saying they want like they want to go back to the MK9 style of game. I don't even know what the fuck that means. This game's pretty close to MK9 style, really. I mean, it has the cameo system, but this game to me feels like MK9, but it feels better to play. It's like smoother in general. Movement feels much better in this game, and it's more diverse, by the way, too. The characters in MK9, I am sorry, like you are smoking if you think that the characters in this game are not more complex than the characters in MK9. They just are. They are. There's like a lot more nuance to where the power level is like distributed in this game. I think that's the thing that people have a hard time reconciling. The power level in this game is much better distributed. And so all people see is, oh, I don't have things that are broken. And they're like, how do I put this? It's hard to describe. So, like, for example, like Tom and David both said, things like the cameo system are a gimmick, right? That's the word they've used. I don't know if they know what a gimmick means, because what they want is they want characters that basically their entire design are gimmicks, right? Now, also maybe because I primarily come from Tekken with my mindset. In Tekken, every character kind of universally plays the core game, and then what they have is they have like nuances in the way they play around the system. And I just tend to like games that work that way much better. I can admit that. What's this guy doing? Okay, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. So, anyway, I think we'll cut it there because I'm having trouble concentrating now. But let me know what you guys think. I just feel like sharing some thoughts late at night while I was playing. And I got a few other videos coming up here soon, but you'll see what those are when we get to them. Thanks for tuning in, though. Appreciate you guys. See ya.